In this book, which was written when, Charles?
10 years ago, and this year, Al, I'm going to, Dynamite Al, excuse me. Forget your name.
Yeah.
You'll be known as Dynamite. I like Tremendous better. 10 years ago, I did not write the book, and it sold almost 500,000 copies because Tyndale House publishes the bookstore edition, and they came and heard some of our seminars, like we're doing tonight at the Chamber, today at the Life Underwriters, and they took the tapes, and they wrote the book, and the book is about our kids, how Jeffy taught me to sell when he was 6, and the chapter on how Jerry wrote the postcard from college, and how he read, and it's just a lot of things. There's a chapter on decision-making in there, how to have one wife, one job, and one purpose, how to enjoy a miserable marriage, and...
Wait a minute.
Really?
Wait a minute.
You know what I'd say to people? Tonight, I'm going to tell them this. I'm going to say, you know what? If you hate the one you live with, hang on, because don't ever leave them, even if you hate them. Because when you're alone long enough, there'll come a time when you'll give anything in all the world to have somebody around the house who you can hate. Well, you see, I know it sounds ridiculous.
Any emotion at all.
But that sounds ridiculous. But how much we need, not for her to conform to my whims or me to conform to her whims, but how much we need to grow up and grow out of that kind of an attitude. In fact, here's one of my lines I used for fun, but yet I in my heart it's for real. That my wife never needed me to love her, and I never needed her to love me as much as I needed her, so that someday I could start learning to love someone a little bit without demanding anything back.
Your heart really, really took a turn, didn't it? And really opened up.
And then it's so good for me to be learning that even as I say these things for your audience, for me to be able to say to them how grateful I am to realize how little I know about what I'm saying, so I can be a learner and not a teacher.
When you meet somebody that comes up to you and they give you a great big howdy, how are you, false grin type thing, and really turn on the old charm, do you look right through them and say, hey brother, I got a better way for you to go?
No, not in a way, because I guess in a way, you know, I don't see that. I guess people who are learning almost, while there's a cynical side of all of us, I am negative, but then I'm extremely positive. I guess that's the paradox of life, how these things go together. And I think that when that would happen to me, a fellow would have to be awful obnoxious for me to think he would be insincere. Because I think, well, this guy's terrific. And
he's tremendous too.
And I think that the more open and real your own life is, the more you begin to accept almost everybody as being real, until they prove otherwise. And then you may be disillusioned for the moment, but you realize that was your fault. Your illusion did it.
Right. All in our own heads, or in our own hearts.
But we were expecting something. For example, I say divorce begins the moment a woman begins to expect something of her husband he can't deliver, or he expects something of her he can't deliver, she can't deliver. And the marriage really begins when she realizes she deserves nothing and owes him everything, and he realizes he deserves nothing and owes everything. Well, the guy said, well, that's impossible. I know it's impossible, but that's it. My job is learning. I can't make it on my own, see?
We were talking with some kids last week in a three-part series on sex education, and we were asking them, where does the commitment take place? Where does the personal commitment to respect oneself or one's partner, whoever that might be, opposite sex partner, male, female, where does that commitment come in, and where does it lead us to binding relationships, good relationships, rather than flitting little relationships? Where does it, in your mind, Charlie?
Well, you know, that's no use even trying to even talk about this in the little time we have. I saw Fiddler on the Roof, and I guess I cried as hard in that. I saw the play, and I think I cried about as hard in that. The only time I remember ever crying harder was when my father died. And there were so many truths in there, and especially that one place when, if you remember, Chevier, she said she wanted to marry this boy for love. And he said, what's that? And he couldn't figure out, what is this love bit? And he went back, remember.
Beautiful scene.
He says, do you love me? He says, do I love you? And then she went through all these things. Well, I do this, I do that, I do that. Do you think maybe that's love? And I find that youthfulness, and we all know that, We can fall into this thing called the game of love. And every young girl discovers after a while the most miserable 3 words in all the world are the words, I love you, said by the lips of a young man who has no heart to know what he's saying. But now I find after 30 years, I'm gradually beginning to be learning what it is to love someone at least a little bit without demanding anything back.